Hi there, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily with me, Dr. Russell Sharp. I'm just going to give you an update on the vertical farming sector because there's been some really important updates, certainly here in the UK, and that is that the Jones Food Company, which have two large vertical farms, has gone into administration. And so they had a farm in Lincolnshire and one in Gloucestershire. I won't speculate on what administration and bankruptcy and all this means, because it means different things in different countries. So don't sue me, okay? So they've gone into administration. They're likely going to cease operation, I think, from reading what it says. And they join the likes of Plenty and Bowery, is in the large unicorns, companies that are valued over $1 billion, going into bankruptcy or administration. So big issues and for the sector, and lack of confidence and this will send shockwaves around the vertical farming sector, really, because this big news. Major supplier to UK supermarkets that has gone into administration. Plenty did the same, I think, late in March this year, and they were not just valued at $1 billion. They actually raised $1 billion from loads of investments. So for them to go, that was a massive one. And then Bowery were the same, but last year, I believe, they went into administration or went bankrupt. So they ceased operations in November 2024. So these have all been very recently, and it must be something to do with the sort of capital markets, the investors really pulling the plug on this, not seeing the profits that they needed. And it's certainly been a step change when you listen to tech podcasts and tech news. This move away from growth at all costs, the sort of blitz scaling method of startups that sort of Reid Hoffman at LinkedIn and his promoted, before lockdown and during lockdown. This has now changed, and now profit is key to that. So the likes of Bowery Farms, with their investments from Justin Timberlake and Natalie Portman and many others, less high profile investors, they've gone by the wayside. It's not the death knell of vertical farming. There are still plenty of other companies doing vertical farming, and there are large warehouses in the UK that are growing leafy vegetables. However, you have to have something really unique or a really tight business model to make it work. That's because it's not like an iPhone or a Tesla car. This technology is producing a lettuce, and a lettuce, you're making a couple of pence, a couple of cent on every head that you create. And so the margins are small. It might be high tech, and it might involve lots of technology and lots of engineering and lots of systems. But at the end of the day, you're producing something with a crazily small margin. And, if I was an investor in the City of London or Wall Street, that's what I would be looking at. So I'd have to there'd have to be some really unique selling point. And some of them do have, some unique technology there, but you want to be careful. It's not just someone who's decided they want to engineer a giant farm. And I was involved in one of the companies. It's called Fisher Farms. They're still going. They're probably a unicorn. They've got a massive farm in Norwich. I was involved very, very early stages when there was only 4 people. And my job was going to be involved in making sure optimizing the crop, getting the nutrients set up and the fertigation set up and get everything right so the plants grew. And so I had all the risk. Everyone else had different jobs. And the guy, Tristan Fisher, I think his name is, he was always like, yeah, you'll get shares. And I was like, okay, but I'm involved all this risk, if all the plants die, that's on me. So, how much shares am I actually going to get? And then about 7 months later, he said, oh yeah, you'll be getting 0.00001% of the company. And I was like, nope, thank you very much. That doesn't sound good to me. And wouldn't even negotiate, because that was just crazy. Because at the end of the day, growing the crop is the key issue. And, the people from the Lee Valley Growers Association, as soon as Jones Food Company went into administration, they were like, told you so. You might